Hello everyone, back tuning in to today's second video. So we've already done the 5-day forecast. You can find videos out here on the homepage. Just scroll down the page a bit, it's underneath the link ads. There's also the written version. You get to that 5 buttons at the top of the page. Going to be quite an interesting 5 days coming up. All eyes really are on tomorrow's Storm Doris. But after that, we are going to see more unsettled weather continuing through the 5-day forecast. But if you want to know more about that, do check out the 5-day forecast. This is going to have a look. This video is going to have a look at the weather for the next week, 10 days. But we are going to concentrate on Storm Doris to start off with, because it looks quite a significant storm for some parts of the country tomorrow. Quite unusual areas as well, sort of Wales, the Midlands, Northern England, those sort of areas, which is a little bit more on the unusual side. But I'll get on with the detail in a second. Before I get on with that, just to say about the ads, there's articles on all the pages. Have a browse, which is click through the links. You're going to help us to make the website. Thanks very much for doing that. I'll just try and wrap through everything as quick as I can, so I'm running very late today. So this is Storm Doris. Is going to be sitting across some parts of Scotland tomorrow morning. On the northern side of this storm, we could have some snow. It's on the southern side of this low pressure that we have the strongest of the wind. So that really is coming in across England and Wales, so a little bit unusual. As we go through to midday tomorrow, we find that low pressure, this Storm Doris clearing off into the North Sea. Very tightly packed isobars wrapped around that area of low pressure. So there will be gales or severe gale force winds blasting down across the country. And again, it's particularly through parts of Northern England down in towards Wales, the Midlands, those sort of areas, and increasingly pushing over onto the eastern side of the country. Scotland, again, on the northern side of that low pressure, on the cold side of it, could have some snow. And then by the end of tomorrow afternoon, that low pressure is going off to Denmark and things are starting to calm down, but not before it produces severe gales potentially down the east coast. So these are the wind speeds coming up tomorrow from the GFS model. This is the website, theweatheroutlook.com. And you can see that at 6 o'clock in the morning, it's a very windy picture. The strongest of winds at that point are through the Irish Sea, coming down into Wales and southwestern parts of England too. The strongest of those winds transferring eastwards through the course of the afternoon, so moving in towards parts of Yorkshire, Lincolnshire, down into East Anglia, through the Midlands as well, particularly the north and the east. It is windy further south, but not quite as bad, except through the Channel, where it does look very windy with severe gales there. Things quite a lot calmer up across Scotland. Some really strong winds indicated in the North Sea, so there'll be some very stormy seas down the east coast through the course of tomorrow afternoon as the winds inland start to moderate, and then the whole lot moves away to the east and things begin to calm down. These are our wind gusts tomorrow. So this is 6 o'clock in the morning, where GFS model is forecasting wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour through the Irish Sea, parts of Wales going up to 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, and around southwestern parts of England as well, 50 miles an hour possible there. Into the morning, and we find those very strong winds moving eastwards across the country. This is the very latest from the GFS midday run. So it's suggesting that have gusts of wind here through parts of the Midlands in towards Lincolnshire and Yorkshire, going up to 60, 70 miles an hour. Perhaps more than 70 miles an hour around the Humber and coming down the Wash in towards parts of East Anglia as well. And then into the afternoon, that all starts to move off to the east and things begin to calm down as the wind starts to drop down, going back down. Still strong, even at the end of the day, 30, 40 mile an hour gusts of wind. But the worst of it is through the morning and into the early part of the afternoon. And it's particularly through parts of Wales, particularly North Wales, North West England, down into the Midlands, through into East Anglia, the East Midlands, and possibly over towards Lincolnshire as well. That is the GFS model. This is the Arpège model. This is a high resolution model from France. And just to show that it isn't quite nailed down exactly where the worst of the winds of this is going to be. So at 10 o'clock in the morning, it's suggesting that again, we're up to 60, 70 miles an hour quite widely across, with the wind gusts across northern parts of Wales into Northern England, into Midlands as well. Through the Irish Sea, we're going up over 80 miles an hour. And as we run through with this, I just just got to move the timing on, we find we've got 80-mile-an-hour gusts coming through the Midlands and towards parts of East Anglia as well. And very windy, even down in towards the far southeast. We're going up to 60, 70 miles an hour across parts of Essex, for example, during the course of the afternoon tomorrow. So it's a little bit more extreme with the wind there, the high resolution arpeggiator one. It might be that the GFS is just underplaying things a little bit, but I think the suggestion is that really anywhere across England and Wales, you've got to be watching out for some very intense winds through the course of tomorrow. Quite a severe windstorm looks like it's coming up in quite unusual areas. So this is up across Scotland. They're more used to it, of course, and Northern Ireland as well. It would be significant there, but for England and Wales, it's quite unusual. So do take care if you're off out and about through the course of tomorrow. Not only have we got rain and wind, we've also got snow. So this is the high resolution Euro 4 model from Weather Online. You find a link to both the Weather Outlook and Weather Online on the links page. We've got a risk of snow here across particularly central southern Scotland through the course of tomorrow morning. This could give up to 10 centimetres of snow over high ground. Even down on lower levels, there could be a covering of snow tomorrow. Still snowing across Scotland, particularly southern parts of Scotland through into the middle of the day, and then into the afternoon. The worst, it again is clearing away to the east. There is still some wintry showers left in those eastern and northeastern areas. So it does look very significant. Severe gales running down the eastern coast as well with Euro 4. So all models are in agreement on that, but it's very windy through the course of tomorrow. You can see the worst of the winds here through the morning, particularly again through northern down into the Midlands and into parts of eastern England as well. So all in all, we're going to get a bit of a battering from Storm Doris. By this time tomorrow, the worst will be over. I suspect the up edge might be going a little bit over top with those wind gusts going at over 80 miles an hour through the Midlands, but we'll see how it works out. And messages really just to take care and keep an eye on the weather warnings from theweatheroutlook.com if you need to be travelling about tomorrow, and also you can see the weather warnings at the UK Met Office as well. Of course, we don't issue severe weather warnings at Gaz Office, but you can find those severe weather warnings at the Met Office, not the Weather Outlook. I don't think they do severe weather warnings either, the UK Met Office. Just have a quick look at the next week to 10 days, and we've got the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles here. The red line here is the 30-year temperature average. We're milder than average at the moment, but once Storm Doris clears through, we're going to go a bit colder than average. However, over the weekend, those temperatures are going to lift up again. And then into next week, it looks like we're going to be hovering around average. It does turn cooler, and we might bring some colder air in from the east. Still a lot of uncertainty, even though we're in the middle of the week now, still a lot of uncertainty in relation to next week's weather. For precipitation, we find that southern areas has quite a lot of dry weather up to the weekend, and then after that, it is turning more unsettled over the weekend and into next week as well. Temperature anomalies are still coming out milder than average over the next week. This is from the 22nd of February through to the 2nd of March, a little bit milder than average with the temperature anomalies. Precipitation coming out above average, so a mild and wet end to February. Here's the GFS for Sunday. Next area of low pressure is gathering in the north and west, bringing wet and windy weather, and that low pressure slinks down across the country through the first half of next week. Eventually, we start to pull in some slightly colder air to the north again as this low pressure begins to move away on Tuesday. By Wednesday, we are opening the door to those northerly and northeasterly winds. Those winds will be colder. Not sure how cold they'll be yet, but certainly colder air is coming in from the northeast here as this low pressure is clearing down to the southeast. And then high pressure trying to get going over Scandinavia again through the second half of next week, trying to bring the winds back in to the east. That's how we finish up on day 10, which is Saturday 4th of March, where we've got high pressure over Scandinavia, low pressure in the Atlantic. Quite a battle is taking place. Same story as the winter that's just about to end, really. Lots of high pressure up over Scandinavia, but across Greenland there's no heights there, so it's all low pressure to the north and west, coming up against that blocking feature. I suspect this low pressure will break down the high pressure it has done all winter and move it down into southeastern parts of Europe and allow the westerlies to come back in. But of course, that's 10 days away, and it's hard to say which way that goes. But it's certainly having a go at producing easterly winds again in the second half of next week. ECWF finally, we've got low pressure coming back in on Sunday, bringing wet weather across the country. That low pressure sinks down through the early part of next week, clearing away to the east, turning the winds into the north, and then as we go into the second half next week, it looks quite cold. Low pressure is trying to come in off the Atlantic, coming up against that cold air. There may be some sort of snow going on there on the 2nd of March. And as we go up towards day 10, which is Saturday 4th of March, low pressure is still moving in off the Atlantic. No real high pressure over Scandinavia at this point, so a bit different to what the GFS is doing. There isn't really a battle going on. I suspect milder air is just moving back in from the Atlantic. Difficult to say though, really, with that. It's a bit in between. It wouldn't take much to move that low pressure that's to the southwest, move it down in that sort of direction and allow heights to rise up here. So I'd say for the second half of next week, it's still very uncertain. The first half of next week is going to be unsettled. There'll be showers, longer spells of rain as low pressure slides down across the country. It'll get colder, I think, on Wednesday, and as we go through into the second half of next week, it'll be all eyes on whether pressure builds again over Scandinavia and gets the winds back into the east. Right, bit of a bumper edition today with Storm Doris, so hope you enjoyed. It's only been 11 minutes, I thought it's longer than that. Hope you enjoyed all of the updates today. That's all for now, thanks for watching.